You know, everybody's talking about SummerSlam weekend. Everybody's focused on Cena and Cody. What happened yesterday on SmackDown? Gunther and CM Punk. Everybody's talking about Jay and Roman against Braun and Bronson. Well, forget about all that because we got right now maybe one of the realest extreme wrestling champions around, and he's back for the first time in over a year in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the platform where all music and wrestling matters, Sportswire Radio. And boy, does he have a lot to get off his chest, especially in the world of REX wrestling, because if you've seen it, it's been the feud that everybody's been talking about in the state of Alabama for going on, well, over a year between our guest and Tyson Gates. And, well, who is going to really be the true champion? Well, who's going to not only be the true champion REX wrestling, but maybe in all of Alabama and the Southern wrestling circuit? I'll explain. We'll talk about what happened to start the season in REX. We'll talk about some interferences, a video that, well, let's just say we still don't know who or what was behind it. And we'll talk about maybe what our guest has been up to, and we'll talk about his impressive run and some here. But, you know, I know it's been a minute since our guest has been here, and we do things a little different in the intros, and they're a little longer this time. And I know we're going to be here in the state of Alabama. I'm not sure how these war chants will go over, but we're going to do that here. I see some people in my chat, but in the famous words of Def Leppard frontman Joe Elliott, let's get rocked, baby, because the chat wants it. Our guest doesn't know what he's getting into since the last time he's here, and I want to start this show off here in style on Sportswire Radio, the number one global radio station where all music and wrestling matters. So with that, without further ado, here on the Sports Report, number one gamble sports show, a man that has mixed it up all over the world when it comes to combat fighting, MMA, and certainly in the wrestling circuit as your reigning, defending REX wrestling champion. He is truly, really extreme. His name is Seth Put the Anomaly. The champ is here, my friend. How are we doing?
Yes, sir, man. Good to be back. Good to be back for sure.
It's been a
Look good.
minute. Yeah, it's been a year. It's been over a year since you've
Yep.
been here. The wrestling circuit has certainly changed drastically. It's been a long, bumpy ride, I'm sure, for you, and I'm sure for everybody here on this platform. But we're here, and we've done a lot of big things. You've done a lot of big things. There's a lot to talk about here over the next hour, obviously, especially when it comes to the world of Real Extreme Wrestling, REX. And we're going to definitely give you the RESPECT because we know what it means to you to be back on Sportswire Radio. But I'm not going to do any more Aretha Franklin impersonation. But I'm going to start off here nice and easy because we're going to certainly get to some of the nitty gritty here in a few minutes. But the Anomaly Seth Maverick, for those that are listening and watching here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the platform that you and Real Extreme Wrestling have certainly helped build, Sportswire Radio, to the tune of over 1,540 plus subscribers. Talk to me about what it means to you to be the reigning, defending REX Wrestling Champion.
Biggest thing to me is one, always giving the fans something worthwhile. People that are wrestling fans across the board, that's the one thing we want to see. We want to see good matches. We want to see that what we are trying to bring inside in that square circle. And being a part of REX has been such a privilege, such an honor. Having the opportunity when I became champion, and in a sense of trying to be the face of the company, and giving the fans what they deserve, right, week in and week out, doing this, and not just because that's the thing, right? As a champion, in my opinion, is it shouldn't be for yourself. It should be for the fans, and also building the brand that brought you in.
No, for sure. And I think that obviously we're going to talk a lot about that here in the world of REX, Real Extreme Wrestling. It's certainly the first time we're getting a chance to talk about this company. Obviously, some names that we'll bring up, we've talked about here in a different life and a different time, but it's good to have everybody back here. But, I think obviously there's a lot of pressure about being the champion, and you certainly have dealt with some curveballs. You've definitely dealt with your own adversity, and some in this company that are obviously looking to take your championship don't see it that way. You are a man, you've always fought for the fans. The fans have always been at the forefront for you. You've went through different things in your life. We've talked about that here in the past. We know about your background at MMA. We know about your music career. We know about your faith. You have certainly been tested, but there are some here in this company that want to take you a championship, and they don't see things the way you do, champ. And I'm sure that must certainly bother you a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where, right, being a champion, it's almost like having a bullseye on your back, right? People have said that for centuries. But the biggest thing is, it's like, people refer to being in the valleys and being on the mountaintops. When you're the champ, you're on the mountaintop. But the biggest thing about being on the mountaintop is all the people come up behind you that want a shot at it. They want a shot, in the sense, right, like Mount Everest, put that flag on the top. And people come in. We've seen, because right, I ain't trying to get too ahead of where this is all going to go, but we've seen me be in these situations with different people, and we've seen me still come out on top. And at the end of the day, about being a champion, the number one thing somebody taught me years ago that I bring to every match I bring is, it's an old saying, right? It's, who has more of that dog in them.
Yep.
Right. Who has more of that grit.
Yep.
To keep getting back up, keep getting back up.
Yep.
And that's the thing, right? People, when I tell people, if they want to come after this and they want to come after me, and what I am trying to do as being the REX World Champion is, you're going to have to bring more than you've ever brought to the table.
Well, listen, it ain't no sunshine and rainbows, to quote Rocky Balboa, but there's certainly been challenges, and you've obviously been a fighting champion, and you're going to have to be a fighting champion. You make some good points, because I get a lot of wrestlers, as I'm sure you're aware of, that come on this platform. I've had even the guys that have been in the WWE and have had the biggest success that anybody could ever have. And one of the biggest things that everybody has to deal with when you're a champion is there's a difference from being the hunter to the hunted. You have had to make this adjustment here in REX Wrestling. We're going to show some of the footage here in a few minutes. But how are you dealing with that? I know you from other places. You've had success there. You've won a belt. I mean, I've seen you. I know what you bring to the table. But now you're the face of the company. You're the top guy. Listen, the buck stops here with you. You know that. You've been around. You've been a fighter. You've done MMA. You've had a music career. I've talked about all that with you. But now you're the guy that's being hunted. Everybody's got that bullseye for you. And how are you dealing with that right now? That adversity of going from the hunter to the hunted.
Yeah, I think, one of the biggest things that was such an adjustment is, which I know you said you was going to show the video, and I'm going to bring this up because let's go along with this, is when REX reached out to me, there had been a good time frame that I have not competed in any way or shape or form. Right, it was a time frame I stepped away, came back into this, and when I came back into it, and I had this opportunity to be in this match, to be, to go for gold, the biggest thing that I had to do was, one, in a sense, people refer to get back in the kitchen, right? I had to start cooking back up. I had to, one, bring fire back that I did have once before. And then when I got it, I was like, oh my goodness, like, this has finally happened. But then it was one of those things where, okay, well, now I have to continuously keep that fire. That's the biggest thing about being, once you're the hunted, is if that fire dwindles, somebody will come snatch in and stomp it out.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that is that's a major thing. Listen, people come on all the time. I've had wrestlers from all different forms and ways you want to describe it, and that is the adjustment. That is the adjustment to make. You win, and you have to stay on top. And I think it's something anybody has to deal with, no matter what you're in, whether it's in wrestling, whether it's in sports. I have a background in college sports. Obviously, getting all the rock musicians on here recently, they were on top, and you have to stay on top. And there's a lot of pressure to stay on top, and you have obviously now had to have dealt with that. And if you are here right now, before I talk about what's the matter at hand, this is the link to the REX Wrestling YouTube channel. You are hearing about them probably for the first time on here on Sportswire. So do me a favor, hit that sub button for them so you can really get your REX RESPECT on for them. So make sure you do that right now. Yeah, I'm trying my best to make the run. It sounded good, and I'll keep going with it throughout the next hour until you really get sick of it. But I mean, so obviously hit the sub button for them. And we're here with the Anomaly, Seth Maverick, who is here for the first time. And over here, before I talk about your opponent that we're watching, and we're going to talk about him a lot, I think, throughout the next hour. You talked about this also before you came back, and this was also brought up here in the match, which was the first episode or first match of REX and Real Extreme Wrestling, is you had this layoff. I know you've been in different places, you've had success, you've wrestled and you fought, but you had a layoff for several months. If I'm not mistaken, you were out of action for the better part of about half a year, and to go out there all of a sudden and just wrestle the way you do and wrestling in this environment for what's such a prestigious championship. I mean, how are you able to deal with that ring rust?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things is because I'll bring it. You brought it up, and I don't care why to talk about it because people have to be honest with themselves, especially in this type of industry, right? This type of business. Yeah. Is when I had my first match in REX, right? It being a 2 out of 3 falls match, and I already know, and I'm like, hey, I have to be in my mindset that, hey, this match may go longer than what I'm normally what I was used to.
Yep.
And when I went back and watched, and when I remember after it was all said and done, during the match, I'm assuming if you watched the whole thing,
I did.
right? I sustained a pretty strain to my neck muscle.
I think it was
Towards
in
the
the
end of the match.
second half of the match.
Yeah. And I had to grit through it. It was, very unpleasant. I will say that. But the biggest thing about the ring rust was it was there, right? It was 100% there.
Yeah.
Because after the match, and I remember I went back and watched it, right? Because it's kind of like how like football players, right? When you study film.
Yep. You got to go back and watch the tape. You got to go back and sit there and review. Yep.
Think about what I could have done different, or where I feel like things could have went wrong. And one of the biggest things for me was I had it dead set in my mind that, hey, I'm the RX champion now. Week after week, I got to get back in, like whether it be like the gym and things like that. I got to get back in, get this ring rust off of me, because I knew good and well for what we did first, for what I was able to do first. If I would have brought that week after week, I don't think the fans would have got behind me. And that's just me being honest, because I knew that wasn't the best I could bring. And there was a lot of doubters, right? I had people reaching out to me, basically telling me, I should have just stayed basically done. I shouldn't have stepped back in the ring. And that's one thing I love, because you brought up, which I know we're not talking about my music. But I always compare the two on one subject is I love when people criticize and hate me, because that just motivates me even more. To just prove somebody wrong. Right.
Yeah.
That's like, for an example, and I know this is a little bit off topic, but this is in a sense a shout out to you. Is right. I followed you for the better part over a year, and when I saw that you got to interview Rhino, I was like, there you go. I was like, let all those haters shut their mouths, because that was really awesome. But yeah, man. The thing about the ring rust in general was people don't understand. People talk about, oh, it's like riding a bicycle. You don't forget. Yeah, you don't never forget the idea of it. But once you get back in there and you're getting slammed around and you're taking these hits and these slams and these falls, and your body's like, like it's got to get back used to this for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's definitely been a journey. And that's something else people don't understand. REX started in mid-March, and we're just now in August. It has been so amazing to see this grow the way it's grown. We went from, I was like, I had felt really bad for upper management. I told them, I was like, look, I promise I'm going to get better week after week, because I want to see this be successful. And I noticed it's been insane, actually. Within just a few months, we started attracting a pretty decent, I'm not going to say a lot because it's not a lot, but a good, decent, YouTube following. TikTok following.
Views. Yeah, I think your match, one of your matches has with for 1,400 views, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, it's me and Hacksaw. Yes, sir.
Yep. So I I know very well. Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, one of the people reached out to me just a few days ago to inform me that the REX TikTok page now has over 500 followers. And then the Instagram's around like 200 something, which I know, people are like, oh, it's not all.
Instagram up in a minute. We're going to put Instagram up in a minute once we get through this for sure.
But yeah, and it's crazy, man, because it's been such a cool journey to where I'm at right now, from where I was. And I think that's one thing, that has been my mindset, like I said, since the first time I stepped into the REX ring was, hey, I'm going to prove week after week. There's a main reason why this is on my shoulder. And that's why I had to completely, in a sense, get all the rust off me that there was possible. And it's not me trying to be boastful, not even trying to be proudful. But if somebody really watched what I've done from week 1 to now, and if you didn't see any kind of growth, I don't know if we're watching the same product.
Oh, I agree. No, I definitely agree on that and where you've come from. And that, listen, that's gonna, to anybody, should make sense, because you had not been in the ring for the better part of half a year. You go out here in a match, in a type of match that you're not familiar with. You're also dealing with an injury. I had a wrestler come on a few weeks ago and talk about a situation he was in a match. A guy, also, you'll never guess this. What a small world. His name is also Maverick, and he also dealt with an injury in a match. Not quite a neck injury, but it was a back injury, and it was almost kind of completely unexpected. What a small world wrestling is, and he had to deal with that and kind of finish the match, and it totally changed the way they were going to go with it. But I think from what you dealt with to come back and then to be where we are right now, going into where REX is going to go the rest of the year, there's no question that there's been growth. There's no question that you have had to dig deep, because you're also dealing with some, while albeit small, some very, very volatile, challengers. A small field, but a field that, listen, we know them from other places. And I'm watching the man right now that you beat to win this championship, and a man that is far from done with you, Mr. Tyson Gates. Tyson Gates, you and him, I mean, it just seems like you've been yin and yang. You guys have been almost what the Yankees and Red Sox have been in baseball. What I can't quite say it these days. Auburn and Alabama in college football. Ohio State and Michigan. Maybe that's more like it. You know, you think about in the NFL, recently the people would have thrown out there the 49ers and the Rams, and how many times they met and played in the championship games. And, you know, once upon a time, you would look at, everybody would say, well, you'd say the Lakers and the Spurs, or the Warriors and whoever LeBron played with. And you and Tyson Gates have kind of been that right now, especially in our wrestling circuit that's dealing with the world of REX. And I mean, I am sure that he is far from done with you, and especially after watching this match and what we're about to see here in a few minutes.
Yeah, you know, like you said, I mean, me and Tyson, we go pretty far back. You know, we go back all the way to me and him had some differences that needed to be exchanged, you know, in an I Quit match.
Yep.
And, you know, me and you had talked about this last year when that match, a match got announced. And, you know, not to go too much into all that, but, you know, I thought, okay, hey, things are settled here. And then, you know, we have our, you know, we come in REX, you know, they announced me as a signee, and then I saw where they announced him. I'm like, okay, you know,
hey, we've done this before.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to run it back again. And so and this may sound crazy for me to say this about a basically, you know, a rival, but I actually love the feeling of anytime I get the chance to step into the ring with him. One, because I just, you know, I like to rough him up a little bit. You know, because I can't deny his athleticism. You know, he's pushed me to the limits plenty of times. But I've just been able to pull out just a little bit more.
And you had to use your Muay Thai MMA experience there and make him tap out. I mean, that's what you were able to do. You were able to dig deep and go and just do just enough to really extremely win this championship. And that's how you won the title. And then there's obviously this man here, Hacksaw Brown, another man that you've certainly shared a locker room with, and a man that has had his own issues and his own reasons that he doesn't like Tyson Gates. And that's how it ended. And I mean, you definitely had to dig deep, but Tyson Gates, maybe he felt since that first episode that because of what we saw of Mr. Brown on the outside, that's why he really wants, he extremely wants, as a matter of fact, a shot at you still.
Oh yeah, for sure. Which, you know, and that's why, you know, it's people that are new to REX, and they go in, they're wanting to watch what we're about, especially what I've been able to do one of the biggest things that people are going to see is they're going to see it's almost like there's a in a sense, like it's almost like a timeline, right? Like people see the Marvel movies where you see the timelines. And it seems like no matter what, me and him just can't get away from each other.
Yeah.
When it comes to the ring. And as you bring up here, right? This is when I had my title match with Hacksaw Brown.
Yes.
And what's crazy is up until this point, me and him, I had never once faced this man one-on-one.
Yeah, you know what? I think when you were here last year, I don't think he ever really, we brought him up with you. I mean, I know, and he had been in my chat a bunch of times when we had talked a lot about the company prior, and it never occurred to me that you and him up until this moment had wrestled. And that's kind of, to me, so interesting. I mean, your style, his style, you would have thought, going on the movie references, that would be a perfect foil for you. But this is where you get to wrestle him for the first time. But I think that, to me, as we're here with the reigning defending REX wrestling champion, the one and only, the Anomaly, Seth Maverick. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. If you're here, please hit the sub button for REX on YouTube. Follow them on Instagram. And we are here right now with the champion. I think, to me, and I said this a few minutes ago, is that you've got a small number of maybe roster members, but they're all very, very volatile challengers, and they're all on any given moment can take this championship away from you. Even a man like Hacksaw Brown. This is a man that has been dominant before at other places. This is a man we've seen do a lot of things. Look at what he's been doing to Tyson Gates, and another competitor that, regardless of what happens between you and Tyson Gates, something tells me he's far from done with you.
Yeah, and bringing up Hacksaw Brown is, because no matter who I step in the ring with, right, I never take lightly. And
you ain't taking him lightly anyway.
Yeah, and as when the GM announced during this time frame, hey, you're going to defend the title against Hacksaw, I said, all right, bring it on. There was a part that was a little bit excited because, like I said, I never had the opportunity to step in the ring with him, because it's you're talking about two totally different sides of the spectrum of, what we bring to the table. I like to consider myself a little bit more fast paced, a little bit more striking.
Yep. You have a little bit of that fighting background. You come into it where you're going to use your speed and quickness, your agility. Hacksaw is going to use that sheer strength that's going to be able to work his opponents and get to the outcome that he wants.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? And it's always crazy because people don't, people think, a champion would go about a match the same way every time, in a sense. But, it depends on who I step in that ring with. That's my game plan. Because, what may work against somebody like Tyson may not work against somebody like Hacksaw.
For sure.
But also too, one thing I've loved about what I've been able to do in REX is there was a part of me where I always knew I could bring a little bit more to the table. And as I got more used to being in the ring, more used to bringing back a part of me that I was trying to bring back to be the best champion I can be. And that's why, there are things that if people watch, they will see me do in REX that they have never seen me do anywhere else.
No, I some of the work, and we're seeing it here now. This is your most recent match. We're seeing you do some things inside that ring that you certainly hadn't done in the first appearance you were here. We talked about you mostly, Seth Maverick. He's this fighter. He's this striker. He's this guy that goes out there and just wants to just have a fight. He doesn't give up. But what we're seeing here is you're using a little more versatility. We saw some of the stuff with some aerial moves in the ring. We're seeing you in terms of some technical abilities. There's no question here that you've certainly evolved, champ, from the first time we saw you here on this platform.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, there was a time frame where, and to me, being completely honest is, and, it was never one of those things, sometimes people think this in the wrestling world, because, for example, I hate to try to make comparisons, but, how, you take WWE, right? They just released that giant documentary showing behind the scenes.
Unreal, yeah.
Right, not a big fan of it, but that's me personally.
I
But
don't have Netflix, so I haven't watched it. So somebody can tell me.
So my biggest thing is nobody ever told me prior, hey Seth, we don't want you doing certain stuff. We don't think you should do certain moves. My mind is I was kind of closet minded, and I didn't think that I could do them, honestly. And as I got with REX and I was talking with some of their upper people, and one of the people basically told me, hey man, you're pretty athletic, go in there and show it. You want to show the fans something, go out there and show them. You want to prove certain people wrong, go out there and show them.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I've had guys come on here that are hardcore and deathmatch wrestlers. I never forget Jesse Daniels, and he came on here and said, no, I can wrestle technically. I can go out there and he would wrestle matches. He talked about this on here. He explained the depthness of what he could do in the ring. Kato, another deathmatch veteran, says the same thing all the time. There are guys, I think, as a wrestler, it's almost like when I get these musicians on, and you obviously do music, and I get a lot of guys on from the hard rock and heavy metal world, and some of them talk about that they want to explore different things, whether it's as a songwriter or musically. And I think as a wrestler, any wrestler that goes out there, you want to go out there and do different things because this is your craft. This is what you put so much time in. And we're seeing you do that here. And this is REX Wrestling, because I see our All Wrestling Matters champion, the good guy CJ Black here, a man that you obviously, I'm sure you've heard of before, but this is REX Wrestling, a new company, actually. It is new. And it's been around for less than 5 months, and that's what we're talking about here. But no, listen, I completely get it. I mean, guys come on here and talk about that all the time, about wanting to show versatility.
Yeah, and also too, it's so crazy because and a lot of the people I know that will watch this and they'll comment on it, or they'll just listen, and they will probably agree with me, is there is such a diversity when we look at all different types of wrestling.
Yep.
Like you mentioned, like death matches, and you got more technical style. Then you got kind of like combinations of wrestling, like you got like blood sport.
Yep.
My thing is, at the end of the day, there we go right there. That's something I added to my moveset, by the way.
Well, it wasn't what you hoped for, but we got that started with Hacksaw Brown, and that was, hopefully what he was hoping for to get that victory over you.
Yeah. It wasn't what I was hoping for. He outsmarted me there, that's for sure. But yeah, what I was saying was, we bring all different people bring so much to the table, and that's what I love about wrestling, right? I love seeing all the different styles and versions of wrestling. Because at the end of the day, you have people. If you're like me, the number one reason why I do what I do is because this is what I wanted to do since I was a child. This is something I love. And I think right here, this is right here.
You know what? And then you have the double kick. I mean, it's definitely one of the more versatile combos, but you weren't going to get it. You weren't going to get it there, but the match is thrown out. And this is why you obviously are dealing with what you're dealing with. And I mean, your strikes are definitely deadly, but that curb stomp is even more deadly from Tyson Gates.
Oh yeah, and I can tell you two things. Number one, hurts very much. I will tell you that. Definitely doesn't feel good. And in that moment, I will tell you this. In that moment, I was a little bit kind of lost for words in what was happening, because this right what you showed, that was a small time frame where Tyson Gates wasn't, he wasn't active. He wasn't there. He was injured. Yeah. After his, him and Hacksaw.
We didn't have him for a few episodes. Yep.
Yeah, him and Hacksaw were, they had their.
We saw that. Listen, at the beginning of the season, we know that they, Hacksaw came out there. I mean, that's, they have history.
Yeah, one thing I've tried to wrap my mind around is, he had the opportunity to also take out Hacksaw, the guy that put him on the shelf for a little bit, and he chose to attack me. I don't know if he thinks that I'm unfairly the champion. If he thinks that he would have beat me if it wasn't for Hacksaw, I'm not really for sure. And then, because we got it up here on the screen, I have myself have talked with REX, and I have been trying to figure out what has happened to Devin Steele.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big, that's a big question. A lot of people have pointed fingers. Tyson Gates wins this match basically by forfeit, and just you come out here and you interrupt. I mean, so what do you think? I mean, and why?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Tyson had this plan all along, and he took out Devin Steele so he could get an easy victory. I'm not really for sure.
You dealt with your own swift kick to the face there from Tyson Gates, and I mean, listen, you especially dealing with some of the things you dealt with, and you were about to get that curb stomp, and thankfully the referee saved you from that. And I guess Tyson Gates, it's by any means necessary. A lot of people are pointing the fingers at him because that would basically put him right at the forefront. This was a number one contenders match for your championship, but Tyson Gates was in the ring. How could he have done that? I
don't know if like I said, Devin, I've reached out to him, and he's, he feels very confident that, he thinks that Tyson was in on this.
Does he have proof though, you think?
No, I don't know if he does. He doesn't, for all I can say, from what I've been told, is they're still trying to figure things out. Tyson Gates, from what I've heard, he said was basically, in a sense, he basically didn't answer either question. If he was involved or he wasn't involved, all he cares about is now he's the number one contender.
Well, he wants what you have right now. We've talked. Yep. What have we talked about here before we get to some people in the chat? We've talked about the fact that you have something that people want to take off your back. You're the guy right now that's the face of REX. You're the guy that whereas the buck stops here. You have something that a lot of people want to fight for. This is one of the richest prizes here in all of wrestling, especially in Alabama or in the South. And Tyson Gates wants that. I don't blame him. Look at that pretty championship. Look at the way you've conducted yourself as a champion. Tyson Gates obviously thinks and he knows that he can do better.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where I'm going to go ahead and announce, I'm going to go ahead and say it for people that are on the show. If people are very interested and they want to see me and Tyson Gates one more time, because it's happening.
Right? I want to see it. I would like to see it. I mean, I've known you. You've been on my platform. I know Tyson. We've followed both of you guys for over a year. All right, I'm in. What are you about to tell us?
Tomorrow, it will be at 11 a.m. Central Time, so it'd be 12 p.m. Eastern Time.
Lunchtime, baby.
You will see the Anomaly Seth Maverick defend this REX World Heavyweight Championship versus Tyson Gates.
Whoa! Repeat that again, because I might need to get my ears checked. Can you repeat that again here for the audience? Because we'll make sure that this gets out here right when we're off the air. We'll put this right out there so social media, Instagram, Facebook, all of that gets that out there so we can let the world know. Make sure you repeat this because I may need my ears to be checked.
So tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central Time, 12 Eastern, you're going to see the Anomaly Seth Maverick defend this championship right here against Tyson Gates, and we're going to finally settle this once and for all.
Whoa! That's really extreme. Ladies and gentlemen, the Anomaly Seth Maverick has come on here, and he has said he's really defending his REX championship, where he's going to show the world why he, and especially from Tyson Gates, deserves that RESPECT, and he's going to know what it means to him when he beats Tyson Gates to retain his championship. That is going to happen tomorrow. 12 o'clock Eastern Time, 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, and those in Central Standard Time, you're getting it 11 a.m. And if you're in the UK even, because we got some UK fans out there, you're getting this, guess what? 4 p.m. UK time. So that we're giving you all the time zones, but the bottom line is this, ladies and gentlemen, for that REX Wrestling Championship, we know this has been a feud that has been going on for months. As a matter of fact, this feud has been going on for over a year in other promotions, other places, and it finally comes to a head here. One more time tomorrow, the Anomaly Seth Maverick puts up his championship against the number one contender to his championship, that is Tyson Gage. You will most certainly not want to miss this one. And the way that you get involved and you watch all this is by hitting that sub button for REX Wrestling. You might not have heard of REX Wrestling before. Well, guess what? You hear about it more because you hit that sub button for me. So I see people in and out of the chat. You want to come on down. You've seen what REX has to the table. You've seen what they've got. You've seen who's here. This is exactly why you need to keep an eye on and support REX Wrestling. So there you have it. I mean, Seth Maverick, you haven't been here in a year, but boy, you certainly made up for some lost time there, because you are certainly that fighting champion you proved to be, and you're putting that championship up here tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow morning, depending on wherever you are, and it's going to be a match we're all going to be watching here very closely, I know.
Also, too, and I guess we're going to give you a double header.
Oh!
Is people that have not followed us, REX. What will transpire tomorrow will also transpire at our new filming location.
Ooh.
That REX has decided to move to. And then on top of that, I'm going to give you a triple header.
Triple header. Listen, boy, you're spoiling us here. This reminds me of Sundays when I was a kid, and they had the NBA on NBC, and they would give us a triple header. The first game would start either 12 or 12:30 p.m. Then we get the second game, usually at 3 o'clock or 3:30. Then, well, if Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant played, it was either 5:30 or 6 o'clock. So, boy, you're basically turning us into the NBA on NBC here. Give me the third part of this triple header.
So after talking a lot, I reached out to REX management, and we had a long conversation about the business of REX. What we do and what we try to put. We try to put out content that is family friendly, that people can sit down with their families, they can watch it. They ain't got to worry about hearing F-bombs, nothing like that.
I do have, since you last came here, I've actually bought this. So, in case people do it. So I've actually bought these. I'm glad somebody likes it.
And, it's not me. I'm not judging nobody, right, that does, things like that. That's just something we decided, that they decided to do that I agree with. And so, and we talked out. So this triple header, what it is, the news is here soon. I don't know how soon, but here soon, REX will also be getting basically our own building.
Whoa!
That's
building?
Yeah, that we will be.
Wow! Your own building, boy. That's different.
I definitely think we were going to keep it really kind of hush-hush a little bit until we got, but it has been paid for.
Wow.
It's just the fact of when it gets put up. Mainly because the biggest thing from REX management that they told me that I'm allowed to say is basically they got, in a sense, kind of sick and tired of people saying, well, these guys are nothing but a bunch of backyarders. And we've heard that, right? Especially, I know people on this podcast, we've heard the...
I'm Mr. All Wrestling Matters. I've had... people say one thing about people on a trampoline. People then say one thing about people that wrestle on the ground. Then there's people that wrestle and they say they're not trained. So I've heard it all, and that's why, as my mantle has been now for the better part of 2 years, and it's been something that I have supported almost since day one I'm doing this is I am all wrestling matters. So if you're a backyard guy, you're an underground guy, you're an independent guy, you mentioned Rhino, I've had Savio Vega, I've had on Gary Wolf from the Pitbulls. I'm all wrestling matters. I got your back.
Yeah, and so when they told me this was a decision we were doing, it was very groundbreaking to me because also, like you mentioned earlier, this has only been around for 5 months.
That's it. Yeah.
So, and the way I look at it is this: what does this look like in 15 months, 20 months? And to me, especially me being the champion and me being a part of this company, I look at it as long as my mind and the way I look at things and other people's minds and the way they look at things is to the sky.
Yep.
Right. Then there is no ceiling. And I say this, I try to say this to also inspire other people that are starting up wrestling, that are, if you're starting from the bottom, wherever they're starting from, you don't have to go just to wrestling school to become a wrestler. If you're like me, I couldn't afford it.
Yeah, you know what? Listen, we've had guys. It cost several $1,000s. One of my buddies is a guy, Chris Urban, who's trained. He trained out of the famous House of Glory dojo here in New York City. He trained under Amazing Red, but it took him 5 years to formally become a wrestler. But he did it at a later part of his life because he was in the heavy metal world, and he decided that he always wanted to be a wrestler. Like he's a big wrestling fan. And he did it, but he didn't do it till he was, full disclosure, in his 30s. In his mid to late 30s, he decided, I want to do this. Not everybody, 19, 20, 21, 22 years old has 2, 3, 4,000, $5,000 laying around like me, and their pillow somewhere can go to wrestling school. It can be very challenging for sure.
And that's like, you mentioned that about, that guy being, basically in his 30s.
Yeah.
Some people don't look, I don't know if it's because of my boyish good charms, but
maybe.
I'm 28.
Okay. Well, 28's a good 28, they say, is the age where I think 27, 28 is like the beginning of the prime of your life. They say usually, if I recall correctly, when I was in college, 27 was like, that was the start of your prime. It was 27. So 28 means you're still in your prime. Still a good age. You're not. It's not over for you yet. You're not James Taylor. You're not James Taylor. I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding, everybody.
I only bring that up about my age because, I didn't have the privilege, right, to start this when I was 15, 16, 17, 18, whatever years old.
Sure.
This is me I have literally only been in this 2 years deep. And, people are like, when they hear me say that, oh, you've only been doing it for 2 years, they're like, well, how'd you get to where you're at? Number one is determination. Number two, self-discipline. And number three is it doesn't matter, in a sense, what other people say. Is if I can't do it for myself, right? I can't wrestle for somebody just to get their approval.
Right.
I wrestle for the people that love wrestling, that they want to see wrestling. They want to see it. They don't get into all the bickering and the back and forth. Because I agree with you, right? In a sense, all wrestling matters.
Yep. That's it.
And I can tell you, being a part of REX, what I love so much is REX is very cool with me being very vocal about anything, really. I've had the opportunity to be able to talk about different things, or even here recently, because I see it on there.
Because people are here in the chat, and I wanted to let them connect with REX because they might want to get involved.
Like one of the last things we post, when they were like, oh, hey, we got some breaking news, and they were like, hey, champ, we're going to let you make the breaking news for us, which I will also mention, because I don't know, people will see when they go on the video. So one thing that REX Wrestling is doing, they've already posted one video, and it's maybe my bad for not mentioning this earlier. But REX Wrestling is also starting a side YouTube channel and Instagram channel and TikTok channel that is
Yes,
called
REX Gaming. Yes, which I did mention in my announcement of you. I actually did it in my video. Mentioned REX Gaming. I have that. I have that Instagram. I have that Instagram as well.
And right, they're gonna. I think they started out where it's like all of us inside the gaming of 2K, and then they talked about, and they've also talked about doing other games. But to me, it's just, it's something neat. It's something different. It's something fun.
Yeah, I actually own the Promo Wrestling Federation, which we're on, and it's based off the WWE 2K game. And unfortunately, I bought it for James Taylor, and I know like zero about it, and it's just we haven't done anything with it. But yeah, I'm familiar with the world, sure.
Yeah, and to me, and also too, it just, and also it to me, it reaches out to a whole different fan base.
Yeah,
because you got people that love the world of video gaming. That though they might see what we do, they might see what REX does from that standpoint. They're like, oh, okay, well, hey, what do these guys do besides this? And then they see, oh, hey, well, they're a wrestling channel. Let's check them out. Because that's all it takes. All it takes is for somebody to check us out, right? Because that's like when I was a kid, somebody introduced me to WWE. That was me checking it out, and then I'll be sucked in, became a fan.
Yeah, absolutely. No, definitely. No, listen. Everybody starts somewhere.
But yeah, I think one thing that's a big difference from when me and you talked last year to now is a lot of stuff, right? A lot of stuff is
I think you're more comfortable. I think we're here with the REX Wrestling Champion. He's really here. His name is the Anomaly, Seth Maverick. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. Please follow and support REX Wrestling. Definitely, if you like what you see here, and I think people are seeing this for the first time, please support them. Hit the sub button for them. And we're here with the champion. No, I think really since you've last come here, I think it's the right time to have you here for a number of reasons. I think people are more willing to hear you talk. I think since the last time you've been here, I think that people want to get back to the basics. I think that we've had different people come on here, new people come on. I think that that's always important. One wrestler messaged me yesterday and said he always appreciated that I gave people a chance, and I will always give people a chance. But I think you've certainly went through a lot. You've obviously improved your craft. You've come back to the ring. You've improved as a talker. And I think that it's the right time to have you. I don't know if it would have been, when you returned with REX 5 months ago. I think we spoke a couple months ago. You first reached out, and I don't know if it was the right time, maybe 5 months ago or 2 months ago. But I think now is the right time. And I think it's important to have you and this company.
Yeah, I think, there's always, my grandma used to always tell me, right, it's a time and place for everything. And, so I agree with you. I feel like it's a perfect timing. I think it is also a significant time because, like you said earlier, when I talked about how this championship match is happening tomorrow, and it just so happens that we're talking tonight.
Yeah, once in a while I get it right. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. And, but yeah, one thing, I would say that is just, drastically different from last year to now. Is, last year I had the opportunity to excel in some ways, according to some people, right? Is I had an opportunity to reach out and wrestle with like actual independent promotions.
Yep. Well, you guys were at the arena, at the 300 arena over there in the Gadsden Mall.
I've actually got to wrestle two different people at a Spartan Pro Wrestling show. Right, I got to wrestle a guy who's if I remember correctly, I think he's like an 8+ year vet. His name is Anomaly. He did get the best of me. Right, I'm not gonna.
I wasn't gonna bring that up, but you can.
Yeah, and now the cool thing I will say, I also, because technically in my independent career, according, because people like to look at it separate, I'm 1-1 because I lost to him, but I also did win a tag match against Victor Thorne.
Yes, a man that we know very well here, a man that defeated D'Angelo the Flame, and a guy that had certainly had the best of a number of people in a place once upon a time you wrestled for sure.
Yeah. And it's crazy also you mentioned, D'Angelo the Flame. That is one person that is on my list of people I have personally got to meet.
Yep.
That I
You
would
shared
love to
locker
go.
room with him a couple times. Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
But we've shared a locker room a few times, but we've never had the opportunity to, in a sense, right, make that dance happen in the ring. I would love, as the competitor in me, would love to get in the ring with somebody like him, for sure, if that was to ever happen.
Well, you know what? I mean, I know right now he's training down in Texas, and I think that could definitely be a possibility. I mean, I don't think that D'Angelo has given up anything by a long shot. He was here about 2 months ago. He hadn't been. He had a cameo here. He wrestled Soldier GP when he was the All Wrestling Matters champion. He had like a brief cameo here, but he made his first true appearance here on Sportswire in about 7 months. 2 months ago, around 2 months to the day, and he is now back getting ready to do some different things in the ring. And I definitely think that could always be a possibility. I don't think D'Angelo counts anybody out or doesn't want to not wrestle people. So I think that I don't see why not. If there's a will, there's a way.
Oh yeah, and also because I always feel like you always give honor where it's due, and bringing up D'Angelo is actually after I became the REX World Champion.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually one of the first people I reached out to, and I just told him, I was like, "Hey man," I said, basically I got some ring rust, which we talked about earlier.
Yep.
And I was like, what's some advice you could give me, being somebody that's been in this game a little bit longer, because I know that he'll be honest with me.
Yeah, D'Angelo's an honest guy.
Yeah. Now, whether if I liked the answer he gave me or not, that wouldn't have mattered, because I'd rather. But I knew he would be honest with me. He's coming from the right place.
Absolutely.
And I just want to give credit to him, because he is he's one of those people where I feel like if there was a whole lot more of people with his mindset in the wrestling world, I feel like the wrestling world would be a little bit better.
Absolutely. D'Angelo was one of those guys that I think he tried to unite the community that we had here. He went to different places. He went to, obviously, Alabama. He went to Massachusetts. He went to upstate New York. He went to Ohio, Summer Bash last year, Iowa. I mean, he definitely really did try, to the point that he exerted himself, overexerted himself, but he really did want to unite people and give people, the fans of these different places, an opportunity to see what he could do against some of the very best in other places. And I think that opened up a lot of eyes to different places. And I think that D'Angelo really was a shining example of one of those people that did really try genuinely to make a difference.
Yeah, there's always, like I said, there's a few people on my list of people I've got to meet that I would love to have a match with, whether it's for this or if it's just basically who's the better man.
Yeah.
Right. There's another man. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with the name. It's CT Matlock.
Oh, I know Yes, CT Spartan Pro Wrestling. Yes, a man that is held gold, and definitely CT Matlock has been on this platform. He has wrestled quite a bit. Definitely knows CT Matlock very well. In fact, I think when you came on, either he came on right before you or right after you. I can't remember which one it was, but yeah, CT Matlock, I'm very familiar with him. Absolutely.
Yeah, and he's one of those dudes where he's such a high flyer, so fast paced in the ring.
A lot of heart. He has a lot of heart. I mean, that guy has a lot of heart.
I would love the opportunity, get in the ring with him. I think me and him could tear down the house. I believe that without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, man. It's been so crazy, man. It's been a very awesome experience. Coming to REX has been an amazing experience. Been able to keep this gold on my shoulder week after week. It's not been the easiest thing. It's definitely been an up and down battle. Fighting through different things. On top of also, because sometimes people don't think about it, right? Some of these guys, where you take somebody like Tyson Gates, right? He is so zoned and focused on becoming champion. He has no other.
He wants you. I mean, that's what he's been obsessed with these last on and off for 5 months, and this is a feud that, again, it goes back more than a year. It goes back to multiple promotions, multiple venues, and he's consumed with it. And guys, we've seen this time and time again in this sport. They will do anything they can to take what you have, and it means that much to them. It'll drive them mad. It'll drive them to do things that they wouldn't normally do, but this is what this means to him.
Yeah, to me, and it's obviously I'm not making the comparisons from the people, just the scenario.
Right.
But most people, if they're big wrestling fans, people remember years ago when, you had Evolution in WWE.
Yes.
And we had Triple H turn on Randy Orton. Well, that rivalry.
Batista the thumbs down when he won the championship. Yep.
That rivalry spanned years.
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, we saw it with Triple H and Shawn Michaels when they got back together, and it was Edge and Randy Orton. We saw what Randy Orton did to Stephanie McMahon. I mean, that was just, they went back and forth at each other. Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about a feud that was on and off for the better part of a decade and plus.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that me and Tyson will go round for round for that long, but I definitely feel like no matter what happens tomorrow, because no matter what I can promise to the people and to the fans, you're never going to get half of me, half of a champion, never half of a match worth. I'm always going to give all I got, and Tyson knows that, and I know that he's going to have to basically have something up his sleeve. He's going to have to if he thinks he's going to beat me.
Well, he's going to certainly try in every way, shape, or form, and that's why we want to, before we get to some other things, I want to let some people talk to you. I want to give you something before we get to final words, but this is why you also want to tune in here. That'll be tomorrow, 12 o'clock Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, to see that REX Wrestling Championship being defended by our guest here tonight, the Anomaly, Seth Maverick. He will be defending it against the number one contender, Tyson Gates. Whether it was questionable and how he became the number one contender, it doesn't matter at this point. The talking will come to an end. This has been a feud that is going on for the better part for more than a year. It has spanned multiple companies, multiple type of matches, and it comes to a head here tomorrow afternoon. So if you want something to do before SummerSlam Night 2, REX is giving it to you. And I see we've gotten 5 new subscribers since we went on the air. As a matter of fact, 6 actually. 6 new subscribers since we went on the air for REX Wrestling. So that means you've tuned in. You hit that sub button now. You've done it. You get that notification. You know where to be. And that's to be tomorrow to watch this match, the Anomaly, Seth Maverick. Plus, REX is going to be in a new ring. That's another announcement. A new ring, new venue. So a lot to look forward to here. Let me get to some people in the chat real quick. Speaking of people that you know very well, wanted to say hello, the legendary Hillbilly Tilly, of course, a man that was your upper management once upon a time. And yes, it is the right time to bring you back. And I said hello from our PWF account, and always good to see you, myself chatting for myself. And Zilla is here. I don't know if you remember Zilla from last time, but Zilla is here, and she wants to say hello. Thank you, Zilla. Hello. My buddy, the Samoan Dragon, Il Drago, who was a big topic last night on Sportswire, but he's here tonight for this time, and he's happy for the stream. And I think a lot of people are going to have their eyes open here, seeing what you guys bring to the table in REX Wrestling. And hello to the family, absolutely. As again, I stated, hit the sub button for REX Wrestling. Please do that. I'll let Drago answer that, Zilla. We're here with Mr. Seth Maverick. Don't you worry about that. Also, Abram Storm, the Thunderous One, is here. Obviously, we mentioned the All Wrestling Matters champion, the good guy CJ Black, the 7-star superstar. No, this is REX Wrestling, and it is REX Wrestling. But obviously, you may have seen Seth Maverick. I think you two shared a locker room before, so you guys know each other. But obviously, always good to see the good guy, and it's always good to see you here as well. And yes, we're a big fan of Abram Storm, everybody else, and well, CJ won yesterday, and we heard from Seth today. Hit the sub button, and yeah, REX seems really cool, and that's why you need to support them. Must do some research. Well, you follow them on Instagram. You hit the sub button on YouTube. Facebook, they have an account there. TikTok, they have an account there. Go out there and support them. And August 23rd is Charlotte Mania. Yep, absolutely, definitely excited about that. You need to support Rex or REX on Instagram. Also, sometime on my day off from work, yeah, we'll definitely, yeah, you can come on maybe sometime and talk about maybe before the show. We'll give you a few minutes. Let me know your work schedule, and we'll figure something out for sure. Follow Seth Maverick on Instagram. Please do that. Please follow everybody from REX, whether it's even Tyson Gates, Devin Steele, Hacksaw Brown. Yeah, I know you got to take care of business, but follow them all. And I'm sure we'll have more coverage of this after tomorrow. But, I know we're going to get to final words, but I have something for you. I want to give it to you because I think it's the right time. We've talked plenty about REX, but I want to talk plenty now on this date, August 2nd, 2025. It is Seth Maverick Day here. I have to fix the date. We'll take care of that in a minute, but it is your day, my friend. Congratulations. And we will give you the actual copy when we're off the air. And it's good to be with you. And obviously, in honor of REX, we wanted to make sure that we RESPECT respect you because we know what it means to you and everybody else in REX Wrestling that it is your day. And now I've got the actual physical copy that is the better one there. There you go. And that's that. That's a wrap for it. It's the actual one. And you'll get this when we're off the air. So congratulations. And definitely Seth Maverick Day on all Sportswire radio platforms. And very excited to see what you'll do here coming up on the 7th. So on the Sunday, the 3rd of August, and it is your match. It is your 7th match actually in the ring, which I was about to say here. Your 7th match in REX Wrestling, but definitely very excited about that. And I want to thank you and obviously management from REX Wrestling to grant us here this opportunity. Okay, so obviously we've spoke a lot tonight. We spoke a lot about just everything you've done here in the world of REX, the return to the ring, the improvements you've made, the different styles you've added, everything it means to you to be the REX Wrestling Champion. But I want to give you the opportunity now here. If you've got any final words or anything you want to say to Tyson Gates before tomorrow at 12 o'clock Eastern Time, 11 o'clock Central Standard Time, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time for Tyson Gates, what would they be?
I'd have to basically break it down into 3 different categories.
All right, I'm listening.
So, number 1 is Tyson Gates. We ran this back many times, like you've mentioned. It's been basically well over almost a year.
Yep.
I quit matches, 2 out of 3 falls. Different places.
Fall in the 2 out of 3 falls match. Had Hacksaw Brown come out, so obviously there was some controversy there, no question. And but it all comes to it. Obviously, the video we saw that interrupt in the Devin Steele Tyson Gates match. Gates wins by forfeit. So there's obviously been a few that it's now become more than personal for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely been personal. And I have to say is to Tyson when he sees this, or if he's already seen it, if he is watching or not, who knows?
They'll watch it. If they're not now, they will.
But the biggest thing is, I'll go back to what I said earlier because it's the truest statement I can use. You want this, and you want this taken off of me. But I'm not going to say that old saying about off my, my debt, talking about, product from my hands or whatever. Not like that. It's mainly going to be more, are you man enough, more man than me, more grit than me, have more of a dog in you of that fight to keep me down for that 1, 2, 3? Because the last time we ran this, in that 2 out of 3 falls, I saw everything you had.
And you dealt with the neck injury too. That's another thing. You had to finish that match with an injury. Your first match back in the ring in months. And you deal with something you hadn't dealt with in your career before.
Yep. Still pulled it out. And even though this isn't, this is still to Tyson, but I'm using it as an example. People also, you saw me, because I'm assuming you studied the film on me before we did this. You saw me have those matches I had with Devin Steele.
Yes.
Very technical wrestler.
Yep.
Different than anything I've ever seen.
You had 3 different opponents. Tyson,
Yep.
Hacksaw, and Devin.
Yep. And the biggest thing is what I have tried to tell Tyson. I've tried to tell him in passing before it's gotten to the point that it's gotten now, to where if we probably saw each other, the hands are probably going to get thrown. But until that point, I've tried to tell him, being a champion isn't just about holding the gold. Being the champions also is, when you become the champion, week in or week out, can you do this? Because how many matches has he had? What, 2?
I was gonna say, and we know the last show he didn't
Or
have
3.
a match. Yeah.
Technically, he's been in 3 matches, and
one of them was a forfeit win. We're not really counting that one, I guess.
Well, you had, and that's is the scenario also I'm using, is he had a match with me, lost.
A match with Hacksaw.
He won, but then he had a rematch with Hacksaw, and he lost.
Yep.
So that's 1 and 2. The last time I checked, I'm still the world champion.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest thing to him, is at the end of the night, when he steps in that ring with me tomorrow, is you're going to have to bring everything you got. You bring all the bags of tricks you got, because I plan on walking out of that place as REX world champion still, and then moving on to the next thing.
Well, in order for you to move on to the next thing, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have to get past Tyson Gates. It is certainly, as we have stated throughout the entire evening here on Sportswire Radio, it is a feud that has lasted more than a year. We have talked about rivalries in sports, comparing it to. We've even thrown out the Triple H Randy Orton reference. John Cena and Cody Rhodes are battling at night 2 of SummerSlam. That pales into comparison of this feud between Seth Maverick and Tyson Gates. This is all coming to a head here one more time for the prize that everybody wants here in the South, and especially in Alabama, that Real Extreme Wrestling Championship. That's going to take place here one more time. 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So whether you're going to have lunch, whether you're going to have breakfast, whether you're going to have brunch, you've got an opportunity to start your day off. And if you're looking for wrestling before SummerSlam Night 2, look no further into what REX has to offer. He's holding up that prize. He's holding up that prize before we get to closing thoughts. That's the prize that they fight for here, that they all want here in the South, in the state of Alabama, in the wrestling circuit that we're in today. That is the prize that Seth Maverick has. They may call him an anomaly. He may be a Maverick, but he ain't going to be no Maverick when it comes to retaining that championship, because he knows how to hold that championship. He knows how to continue his reign, and he's going to really, really cement his legacy as the Real Extreme Wrestling Championship, should he get past Tyson Gates tomorrow. And the place to go is the REX Wrestling YouTube page. So show some RESPECT to Seth Maverick and REX Wrestling by hitting that sub button for them. And yes, congratulations to Seth Maverick on Seth Maverick Day. I am very excited about talking about this here definitely in the coming weeks, and seeing what else is in store with the rest of the REX Wrestling locker room, and maybe even Tyson Gates and others. But until then, that is yours. My friend, I know you got to get ready for 12 o'clock tomorrow. We're also with a new venue, so you've got obviously a lot to do, a lot on the list of things to check off before tomorrow, and I want to give you that opportunity to get ready for tomorrow's big match, especially after what you said here tonight, and I want to pass off the baton to you for some closing thoughts, and anything else you want to plug, share, or say, take it away, and the floor is yours.
So main thing I got to say, number one, is for everybody that's watching here tonight and that will watch it, right, he said it multiple times. I'm telling you, you check out what I do, you check out what this company is, I promise you will not be disappointed. I think this is different. I think it's something fresh. And especially for me, even though I'm with REX, and even the REX upper management would tell you the same thing. They're not trying to steal people like fans from other companies, other promotions. We're just trying to give people in we're called Real Extreme Wrestling, right? That's the biggest thing, right? Is trying to bring wrestling, in my opinion, back to its roots.
Absolutely.
Because we can all admit from what we see on professional TV for a while there, it's,
Yeah, wrestling, WWE especially definitely goes and has its ebbs and flows. I don't know if WWE right now is on the up trajectory. It was definitely on that period for a while, but wrestling definitely has its peaks and valleys. There's periods of time, the Attitude Era into Ruthless Aggression. Then there was kind of a down period for an extended amount of time. And then we kind of we were getting back, and then COVID happened, and now we had the red hot era of Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, the Bloodline, and now we've kind of, I don't know if we've hit a wall, but wrestling definitely has its peaks and valleys in the pro level, and even, I guess anywhere else, I suppose.
Oh yeah, that's the thing is right. That's one thing I love is about with REX. That's what I'm so intimate about telling people about checking us out because these guys are so open. These guys are I'm telling you, man, what these guys have planned and things that they are cooking. I haven't seen passion like this in a while. And that's what I like about it. The only last thing I will say, because I have to do this, some people may like it, some people may not. Can't please everybody. At the end of the day, dealing through injuries, which we talked about last year, even the injury I sustained to my head years ago.
Yes.
That should have never landed me where I am today. I give all that credit, all that glory, right, that goes to God.
I'm a reverend.
Title,
right?
That doesn't go to me. God's brought me through a lot. He's blessed me a lot. Yeah. And it's something crazy, man, which I'm in right now, man. It's crazy that you're talking to a guy that's 28, being able to own a home, crazy affordable.
Yeah, I'm in New York City, and I can guarantee you that unless you have maybe my bank account, you ain't owning a home in New York City. If it's a 28-year-old to own a home, there's no chance of that. Zero.
Yeah, man. It's I'll just say it real quick. It was crazy. Was renting, just normal renting. Talked to the guy I was renting from, and he was like, "Well, I'll tell you what, man." He's like, "I'll give you a year to save up the down payment, which is I could easily do in a year." He said, "And then after that, I'll let you rent to own it."
Wow.
No credit, no set amount of money in my savings account. He's just a good dude helping somebody out, and I'm very, very blessed for that. But yeah, man, and also too, that's why I'm so big on trying to tell people about trying to chase what they want to do, because, like I said, you're talking to a dude that shouldn't be walking, shouldn't be talking, definitely not should be flipping around on ropes and taking suplexes, all that kind of stuff.
You never know. Listen, you never know out there, man.
And man, yeah, man, and I just want to say, man, people watching, man, if you're really determined and you really want to do something, I know sometimes that sounds cheesy, but I'm living proof, right? If you really want to do it, just make the steps happen.
Absolutely.
Right? It doesn't have to be something so complicated. Just take the baby steps and just see where it goes. But yeah, that's like I said, the last thing I got to say, man, so people checking out REX, check us out, see what we're doing. Tune in tomorrow. I promise you, you want to see a good match, because some people I've already seen, they've complained about SummerSlam tonight.
I didn't watch it. I was talking to you, so I'm sure.
I got to watch the beginning of it. I'll say that.
Okay.
And now, wasn't that? I'm from a wrestling fan.
Okay.
It was all right. I mean, that's right. I'm not trying to dog it.
That's why I said, listen, wrestling to me right now is not on the. I don't want to say it's on the downward trend, but everybody was so hot about the Bloodline, Cody, and then they got the moment, and it seems like since then wrestling's kind of like slowly, AEW's had their issues, so wrestling doesn't seem like it's that red hot phase it was for a couple of years there.
Yep.
I don't know. That's just what I see. I could be wrong.
Oh no. I mean, I think and I'll say this real quick. I think from a like what we see is, you had Endeavor, right? They came in,
Yep.
they bought it out, and it's more business.
Yeah.
Than it is wrestling, if that makes sense.
Because the people that run it, they don't have the knowledge, or they're not looking at it the same way, and not to bring his name up, but Vince McMahon would. So you're getting that we're gonna try to do things we're gonna look to cut corners here, we're gonna do certain things here, and listen, right now the big news in sports is ESPN just bought the NFL Network and the NFL Red Zone package. I mean, a lot of people feel that that's going to be another thing that people are terrified now of what'll happen with the Red Zone package. So, right now that's kind of what goes on in the world, and
that's like you talked about wrestling, just kind of in a sense like stalemating a little bit.
Yeah,
I will tell you this, and people may criticize me. The most interesting thing that I have seen in pro wrestling on TV.
Tell me.
In this year alone, is El Grande Americano.
Yeah, maybe.
I think that was such a, because to me it reminded me more of my childhood watching wrestling. That is something I would have definitely saw when I was a kid, and I think wrestling needs more of that. It doesn't.
Well, I think because wrestling's dominated by social media, people on X and a load of Princess Jade. James Taylor, by the way, the BYCW undisputed champion is here, and obviously BYCW is down the hall from you guys. Actually, they wrestled down the hall from you guys. They're the next state over, and I know that they've been watching this. Some of the guys, but shout outs to them, and I'm sure James will be a topic on Tuesday. But no, listen, wrestling. I think it's because now wrestling so much is catered to like a social media soapbox. So you're not getting some of that maybe cartoon or maybe just tongue-in-cheek humor. Or, I mean, what do I know? But I think that maybe that's what you're seeing everything. So, okay, well, what did they say on X? What did they say on Facebook? What did they say in different things? So it's not more like, hey, let's just go out there and, wrestling was always about poking fun at yourself or taking you away from reality. And wrestling, a lot of it now has become a lot of reality based. And as like television is in movies. Listen, I used to do movie podcasts, and a lot of people knock the movie industry right now because movies have become, it's always they're recreating a movie that came out or a storyline, or there's no originality. I mean, so that's like anything else.
And that's the thing is that and it's so hard to do. Going back to what we do in REX Wrestling and what they're trying to do, there's such a right. I don't care what anybody says. It's so hard to be fully 100,000% original when wrestling's been around. Around.
I get a lot of the rock Europe music. I get into a lot of the. I've had the '80s and the hard rock heavy metal bands, and everybody borrows from somebody. Nobody just goes, "Hey, I'm gonna,"
But my thing is, the way it was taught to me, that I try to do my best when you guys see the Anomaly step in the ring, is what I took from other people and basically like inspiration from other people to make it my own.
Yeah.
Right. I would never want people to see me wrestle and then be like, oh, that's just, all he's doing is he's just acting like so-and-so. Because I'm not cosplaying. Right. Which you see is 100% original. But yeah, man, like I said, that's the biggest thing, I got to say is last words is, people just check us out, man. I'm telling you, you guys will not be disappointed. Especially if you start from where we started to where it is now, what you're going to see tomorrow. And really, I really feel like people will, in a sense, there's a lot to chew on. There's a lot there to chew on, and I think it's very interesting. And I think it's something a little fresh too. I just think that's what it is.
Yeah, I completely agree with all of that. And if you have a chance, all these episodes, you can watch them literally all tonight. You can do that because the matches and each episode, literally, you can watch it and just watch all of them tonight, which is great. Some companies in the past used to come on here. It was a book report. I'd have to almost strain myself to watch the episode in one day. REX, you don't have to worry about that at all. They give you the very best of. It's the very best right to the point. That's what I like.
Yeah, short, simple, sweet.
Short, sweet, and to the point. That's always been the old analogy, and companies like REX, ROEW does the same thing. I see Princess Jade, IMF, when they put the shows out, do the same. They give me the match. I watch it. I'm good to go. And Justin Parsley was here in the chat yesterday, but I know one day he'll come back on the Sportswire. But if you are here, hit the sub button for REX one more time. This is the Anomaly, Seth Maverick. He will be in action tomorrow, 12 o'clock Eastern time, defending that REX Wrestling Championship against Tyson Gates, the #1 contender. So please support REX. Seth is also on Instagram. You can check him out on Instagram. Please follow him on Instagram. And definitely you'll be seeing a lot more of him. And I have no doubt, Champ, that we're not going to have to wait a year this time to bring you back onto Sportswire Radio. I think we're here to stay. I think REX is here to stay. And I'm excited. This was the right time, right moment. And good luck out there in the ring tomorrow. Thank you for all you do. And welcome back. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to be talking about what you said. And I love having different companies on here. Recently, we had Basement Wrestlers on here a couple of weeks ago. Yes, there's a thing as Basement Wrestling. We had them on. And I like bringing on different people. And we will continue to do that. And Seth Maverick, welcome back, and thank you, and congratulations on your success so far in the ring. And we'll see what you do tomorrow, and we'll talk about it right afterwards.
Sounds good to me.
All right, that is the Anomaly, Seth Maverick, and he is the reigning defending REX Wrestling Champion. And one more time, he'll be in action here 12 o'clock tomorrow, Eastern Standard Time against Tyson Gates, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Please hit the sub button for REX Wrestling. You can do that here also right there on YouTube. And my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice figuratively and literally where all music and wrestling matters. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Jay, we're doing great. We had a lot of fun. The champ was here, and you came in, and we had Il Drago was here, Jade. Il Drago didn't seem to be too supportive of Anthony Steele, but maybe you could ask him about that. You're always there at the IMF shows. But we'll figure that out, I'm sure, between now and next week. But thank you, everybody, here for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. On the #1 Global Radio Station, that is Sportswire Radio, where all music and wrestling matters. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow. Stay tuned for who, when, where, and what, and I'll see you.